What's up, everyone? Welcome to Target Focus Life. My name's Steve, and today we're taking a look at the Weatherby Orion Sporting. So if you're looking for a detailed and in-depth review of this clay crushing machine, you've come to the right spot. Let's go! The Weatherby Orion Sporting is a variation of their Orion model, and this one, as you can imagine, is built to crush clays. At least that's what Weatherby says. Today we're gonna put it to the test, see how well it does at that, and see if this is a shotgun worth considering. The MSRP of the Weatherby Orion Sporting is $11.49, so it puts it at a place where it's not the cheapest, but it definitely is not getting into that more expensive market. Very value priced, I would say. We're gonna go through a lot of different areas of this shotgun. We're gonna start with specs, but if there's a specific area you wanna jump to, you can do that in the chapters down below. Taking a look at the specs, this is a 12 bore shotgun, or 12 gauge. They do also make it in 20 gauge. It is a 3-inch chamber, and they say it comes in at 7.5 pounds, but I stopped believing manufacturers' websites because I don't know, it doesn't seem like they're always right. And so we're gonna actually put this on the scale, see what it comes out at. We're zeroed out, 7 pounds, 11 ounces. So a little heavier than 7.5 pounds, which is a-okay for a sporting gun. I'm fine with it being heavier than 7.5 pounds. In fact, if we were closer to 8, that would probably be okay as well. Let's look at the stock dimensions. Now, as you can already see, this gun is adjustable with its comb. We'll dive into that in a minute. But right off the bat, let's take a look at the length of pull. This shotgun comes out of the box 14 5/8 on the length of pull. It's almost long enough for me, not quite long enough. So take that in mind. If your length of pull is shorter than that, you really don't have great options other than cutting the stock down. If your length of pull is longer than that, it's often easier to extend your length of pull through adding aftermarket or manufacturer pads that extend the length of pull. There's a plethora of options out there. When it comes to drop, that is adjustable. I have this gun set up fairly close for me, not perfect. We're looking at the face, 1.5 inches is what I have. And I'd say I have it up a little over 1/4 inch. So some adjustability there, but when we look at the comb, let's take a peek at that real quick. Okay, so we can go up, down, right? And if you come on top and look down here, we can also move these posts to the left or to the right. So we can affect our cast left or right. We can also affect our drop. So when you adjust the drop at comb, there are washers that come with this gun. There's 2 different sizes, 4 washers total, which seems maybe a little bit thin on washers. That's gonna get us really close to where I need to be, but that's handy. So when we put that back on, that looks pretty close. So those washers keep our spot, hold everything nice and firm. I did not adjust the cast at all on this gun. You know, narrow face, I don't need a whole lot of cast. Now this gun is not a parallel comb. It does have drop to it. Let's see how much drop this gun actually has in the comb. So at the peak, we're looking at 1.5 inches, and at the end of the comb, we're looking at 2 inches. So it has about 1/2 inch of drop the way it's set up right now. All right, so the Orion Sporting comes with 5 extended choke tubes. Got a couple of them in there. Didn't get a chance to place a Carlson's order, but I would go ahead and switch out for the Carlson Sporting choke tubes. Link in the description if you're interested, as well as a discount code. Now the Orion Sporting is only available in the 30-inch barrel, but if you were to get the Orion 1, their original Orion, I believe there's some different options there. One last thing I like to look at when it comes to specs is the trigger pull. Let's go ahead and just feel it out. Ooh, feels a little hard actually, a little tough, a little heavy. Nice clean break, not a lot of pre-travel. It is mechanical, look at that. I do like that. But let's get this on a scale, see what we're working with. It's over 8. Oh, it's right around 8 pounds. Maybe just under or just over 8 pounds. Oh my goodness. 9 pounds, 4 ounces. Let's try that second trigger, mechanical trigger, see if that's much different. Oh, feels a lot lighter. 7 pounds, 5 ounces. So almost 2 pounds lighter on the second trigger. We'll see. Let's see if that's repeatable. Now this is a new gun, not too many rounds through it yet. It is common for triggers to loosen up a little bit. 810. Okay, so that was a little bit lighter than the first time. Second trigger pull. You can feel right off the bat that it's going to be a lighter. 7 pounds, 6 ounces. Let's do that one more time because we were about a pound lighter on that first trigger pull. 8 pounds, 0.9 ounces. And what was my guess? 8 pounds? I'm calling this the official trigger pull since that's closest to my guess. And the second one, 7 pounds, 15 ounces. So now we're getting closer. So kind of averaging that out, we're real close to that 8 pounds between the two. The first trigger pull was always heavier. Kind of started out real heavy, but it got lighter over time. So I think we're going to be looking right around an 8 pound trigger. We'll just call it as an average. Definitely not the lightest trigger out there. It's about the same weight as the gun. I would prefer it a little bit lighter, but hey, that's not a huge deal in my opinion. But base that on your preference. What do you prefer for a trigger pull? Actually, put it down in the comments below. What is your ideal trigger pull weight? Does it depend on the weight of the gun? Does it depend on what you're doing? Love to hear your thoughts down below. Now we're going to take a look at the ergonomics of this shotgun. It's the look, the feel, the form, the function, how fantastic it is or not. Okay, so we've already went over this. Adjustable comb. The butt pad, just starting here at the end, not overly impressive to me. It's just kind of hard. I do like that they put a hard plastic piece on top, which is supposed to help with catching on your shirt. Right off the bat, I would look at adding a Falcon Strike. I do have a link for them down below if you want to check them out. They're not the cheapest recoil pads out there, but I do believe they are the best. Anyways, moving on. Pretty decent checkering. I'm going to guess that's like 18 lines per inch. Nothing fancy there. If you look at the gun overall, it's a pretty plain, basic looking gun. And that's kind of what you're paying for. You're not paying for deep scroll engraving and high-end woods. I mean, that's when you start getting into 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 plus $1,000. But it is a nice looking gun. It's got a high gloss finish, barrel and receiver, gold triggers, Weatherby in gold right there. Not much for a palm swell there. I don't really think there is any palm swell left or right. Keep that in mind. I don't have huge hands, but I do like a palm swell. Get full grip, full contact. On the fore end, it's moderately comfortable. I like to point my finger when I shoot. I can easily do that. There's not really any big grooves, but it's large enough to feel comfortable in the hands. Feels really nice in the hands. Balance point feels a little front heavy. If I were to put my hand right here, guarantee it's going forward. Not necessarily a bad thing, especially shooting sporting clays, looking for that nice smooth mount and swing, leading with the forward hand. It has a flat rib. The rib is flat with the receiver. I'm gonna admit that if I'm shooting sporting clays, I always prefer a stepped up rib. That's my preference. It is a vented rib, ported barrels on both the top and the bottom. Has a nice fiber optic sight on the front. Now you'll definitely be able to hit all the clays. If you've watched my videos, you know I'm joking. I don't care for fiber sights at all. At least it's not a big one. Some of these guns really try. The bigger the better. No, the smaller the better. And the less bright the better, in my opinion, because we want to ignore that bead when the clay's in the air. We should be target focused on that clay. Selectable barrels, pretty standard. On the top tang safety, not really any engraving on this gun. The top lever, I don't even know if I'd call that engraving. It looks like a stamp. There is a little bit of detail, but it's pretty subdued, which is the overall theme of this shotgun. Nothing flashy, nothing fancy. Having shot the Orion in a review already, I know it is a solid gun and a really good gun for the money. But today we're looking at the sporting. We want to know how it does on sporting clays. As far as ergonomics, anything else to mention? Ooh, it does have a nice W on the bottom of the trigger guard. I like that. Nice Weatherby logo. Weatherby is located in Sheridan, Wyoming, and in fact, I was just there last week. Not at Weatherby. I should have went to Weatherby, but I was in the Sheridan area. But the Orion is not manufactured in Sheridan. Where is it manufactured? Turkey, where a lot of these guns, especially the over-unders that are more budget friendly, are manufactured in Turkey. And I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that if the manufacturer is a reputable one. I believe 𝙈𝙀𝘍𝘾𝙃, I believe it said 𝙈𝙀. is the manufacturer of this one. This does have ejectors, and we'll break it apart a little bit later. Well, let's look at mount real quick. It mounts nicely. It's a smooth gun. I like the way it feels in the hands. So here we go with recoil and reliability. Let's see how this gun feels. Of course, eyes and ears first. I got these new ears from Walker. They are electronic, they are Bluetooth. Okay, recoil reliability. Just gonna start with some target loads here after all. That is what this gun is intended for. This is Federal Top Gun. These are 1,200 feet per second, ounce and an eighth, 8-shot. Let's take one off the machine. If you mount right, it feels pretty darn decent. If you don't mount right, it slaps you in the face a little bit. Oh yeah. Ha! Oh. Feels pretty good. I'm not gonna shoot at a clay this time, just 2 shots so I can really focus on just how this gun feels. Not the lightest recoiling shotgun. I would say the pitch is maybe slightly off for me. It's punching pretty good in the chest, not a ton in the face, which I always appreciate. Like I said earlier, throwing a Falcon Strike in here would definitely help with that recoil reduction. I know it kind of stinks to buy a brand new shotgun and then have to spend more money, but if it makes it more comfortable to shoot, a lot of these companies don't spend a lot of money on the recoil pad. This is just a hard rubber pad, nothing fancy to it. So if it bothers you, get a Falcon Strike. One more time here. Oh. There we go, one more. Feels pretty good overall. Recoil, reliability. As far as reliability, there's not a lot that I can speak to on an over-under shotgun. I mean, did it eject the shells? Is it opening right? Is it operating right? And of course it is. But if you have the Weatherby Orion, we'd love to hear your feedback in the TFL community. Let us know, how's this gun operated for you? Have you had issues? Have you put lots and lots of rounds through it without issues? Because when you all share, we all get better together. Or at least we're all more informed. I don't know if we get better, but we're more informed, right? We're more informed. As far as other variations of this shotgun, like I mentioned earlier, there is the Orion 1, which does not have the adjustable comb, has different barrel lengths, does not have the ported barrels. That's a couple of the main differences. That's in a high gloss finish, similar to this. And then they do have the Weatherby Orion matte finish. Orion Matte Blue, that's what the name was. And it's basically the Orion, not with the ported barrels, not with the adjustable comb, in a matte finish. Let's just break this gun down real quick. We're gonna talk very briefly about quality of build. Just take a quick look at how it's put together, see if anything stands out. Fore end off, barrels off. Of course, it does have a chrome lined barrels, as most guns of any decent value do. Looks pretty standard. Looking into the receiver, has locking lugs up top here, 2 locking lugs. Looks very, very standard. For the most part, I'm happy with the quality, for the price especially. Steel receiver, as you can imagine, goes back together very well, nice and easy. On the fore end, some guns have the lever right here. This has the push button on top. I really have no preference. Both work easily enough. I kind of like the push, but I also like the look of the metalwork right here, especially on a nice gun. Quality of build. I think the Orion, just like when I did the original review, is a solid gun. From what I've heard, they hold up very, very well from people that have shot a lot of rounds, but it's not a fancy gun. I mean, and that's your choice. When I buy an over-under, I am a sucker for a little bit nicer wood and some engraving. But if you're looking for a gun in the price point of under $1,000 and around $1,000, a little under $1,000, depending on where you're buying it, I think this is a solid contender. Especially for a sporting gun or for a field gun. I wouldn't be afraid to take this out. If I was gonna do a little pheasant hunting, a little upland hunting, wouldn't be afraid to take this out. But you know what? I can't make my final judgment until we've done the speed shooting. Most people aren't speed shooting over-under, Steve. That's not what they're made for. Correct. But when I'm speed shooting, I notice every little hiccup. I notice the nuances with the trigger. I notice nuances with recoil, with mount, with swing. All those things come together. So let's do some speed shooting, see how fast we can shoot this Orion, and then I'll have my final thoughts on the Orion Sporting. Ooh, Not a bad first start. A 1:15. Nothing super fast there, but hey, we're just getting warmed up. I threw a little early, 0.88. Let's see what the split was on that. Yeah, a 1.9 split. We're getting faster. Man, everything comes up really smooth, feels natural. I just pull that trigger and clays break. 106. Totally mismounted. That was my fault. Just rip it. 0.8. Yeah, I threw a little early. 2-3 split. That was a slow split. One more, ladies and gentlemen. I'm liking the way it feels though. Feels solid. Feels smooth. I'm going on the trigger. Like I'm trying to grab the trigger, but I'm not pulling hard enough. I got a rip on it. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. A 9.5. 2.0 split. It was a little tough. Okay, I got enough for feedback here. I did notice it was a little tough on the trigger. Like I had to punch it a little harder than I would like. My finger's trained to be a little bit lighter. I had some trigger issues. No big deal. You're hunting pheasants, shooting clays. Most people, you're just gonna smash that trigger. You're not trying to go lightning fast. That's really not gonna be an issue for most people, I would say, but it is a little heavier than I would like it to be. As far as mountability, pointability, I really like the way this gun felt. Operates nicely. Really, no major gripes. Solid gun for the money. Like I've said, nothing fancy, but with some adjustability, solid gun. I would not be afraid to make this a sporting clay gun. But if I did, I would throw some Carlsons on. I would throw a Falcon Strike on. And we got a solid clay crushing machine. That is the Weatherby Orion. Remember guys, whether you're in the field or in life, you're only gonna hit those shots you're laser focused on. So live target focused. See ya.